You have to chant Sanskrit slokas, and there is a pattern of singing, chanting slokas one after the other. Many contestants will be there, and that particular contest of Akshara Sloka, I think that went up to 10 days.
Temple called Aranmula, Parthasarathi temple. There the famous boat race is happening every, during Onam time. That boat itself is a particular shape. The way in which it is moving, if any engineer looks, it is against the engineering principle, against Archimedes principle, against buoyancy principle, against all these kind of aerodynamics, but it moves and works perfectly fine.
The entire computer coding the Jews are doing in Hebrew, the oldest language. We are, and where for AI, the best language is Sanskritam.
This is going to be an interesting session. It's a session to tell about the contributions of Bharatiya Shastra to modern science and technology. So basically, this is a very, very important topic to actually look at. I start with a very provocative statement. Majorly today, if you look at the intellectuals around us or be around us, we always look west to actually tell us what we should do. This habit of us looking west for everything to be approved and told to us, and this is the right way to look at, is the major problem that we are followers. We are never the leaders. Today, if you look at our science, our technology, our way of looking at things, we are always waiting for a technology to be developed by somebody and then you work on it and try to develop it. That is because we don't have the confidence that we ourselves can come out with great technologies which can actually change life. Taking from where the previous chairman left, we should actually take examples of places where we have actually succeeded beyond the ways people have actually assessed us. And that is where we will be leaders. We have a clear divide in our life. This divide is 1947. I don't know whether you realize this, but that is true. If you look at the scientists before 1947, take any number of scientists, they commanded respect from international community much more than that. What today our international community is respecting our scientists. Look at what J.C. Bose was, what C.V. Raman was, what Mahendra Pal Singh was there, P.C. Ray was there. They were all going against, J.C. Bose went against all of them to start their own universities, their own way of teaching, their own way of doing chemical synthesis. All of these things were happening at that time. What happened post-independence? Post-independence, for some reason or the other, we have always been told we need to get help from others. We need to learn from others. We need to develop our institutions like what is there in Stanford, what is there in Harvard, what is there in other universities. Why do we have to actually imbibe what they have their ecosystem? Because they have developed their system according to their culture, their way of living, their way of doing things. We need to actually come out of that and try to develop our own science and go forward. While this happened, many of us started questioning the existence of our knowledge prior to what existed. Take it mathematics, take it, say, astronomy, take it, medical science, all of these knowledge which we existed here, before even all of these invaders came, all of the colonization happened, the knowledge which existed was actually respected by international community. Go back and look at Pythagoras. Actually, we credit him for the a plus b whole square, the area of a right angle triangle and various other things. We actually credit him. Go back and look at it. Pythagoras actually visited India. And before he visited itself, Aryabhata has written the formula in Aryabhatiya. So there are a lot of such evidences. You can see Euclidean geometry. Euclidean was the first person to change from flat geometry to a circular geometry. He has acknowledged the knowledge he gained from India. These are existing, and we never ever actually go back and look at all of these things. If you today Google and see, I ask you, all of you, why is that we have 7 days named after Sun, Moon, Mars, your Mercury, Venus, and Jupiter and Saturn? All of them would be saying one thing: Roman, Babylonian, and other things. Do you realize that we had Panchang before even most of the people actually had calendars? We used to use this, and our names are more closer to what the planets are. And go back and look at it. Why should Sunday follow a Monday? Monday follow later a Tuesday? None of these people will be able to explain, but go back and look at how did we come to the Sunday, Monday, and that is Somvar, Mangalwar, those things. You will realize that we knew the hour was 24 hours. And if you put the planet motion, including sun and the moon, the speed with which they actually go across the sky, because these were the only ones which you could see with naked eye, they have put it in 7 days, 7 hours, 8th hour it is repeated. After 24 hours, if you go back, it will actually repeat in this sun comes first, moon comes next, then comes Mars, then comes Mercury, Jupiter, then Venus, and then Saturn. And that's the reason for the 7 days. We never give credit to ourselves. Just simple thing. This is astronomy. This is how they have done the observations. So what I am actually trying to tell you is, there is a lot of things we could have actually understood. How did they start thinking about these things? How did they even know? Why do we have 12 months? Why do we have 12 months? Until today, no English or Westerners have changed that 12 months. We already had 12 months before, because the 12 constellations existed. All these constellations. Did you realize that Aryabhata had already told Earth was revolving around itself? When did we know from the English or from the Western world Earth was rotating around itself? Much, much later. Earth was rotating because he understood that the concept of when a train is going and an observer is there, we don't realize whether the observer is moving or the train is moving. And that concept he used to tell about the motion of Earth around itself, because he was watching the sky and the repetition of the sky, and he could actually understand that. That is the power of observation. We had all of these things. We never actually looked at it. Go back and look at the literature. It's now written. Calculus, mathematics. You realize circle requires pi. Pi to the 4th decimal accuracy was found by Aryabhata. It is in a sloka which is actually there. You actually repeat that sloka, you will actually get all the values of the pi. Because that sloka is told to a carpenter. He actually knows what the numbers are. So he calculates the circle, he gets the area correctly. That's how all these architectures which is there, they are not actually scientists who are making the architecture which is right behind you. They are all masoners. How do you teach them? Through a sloka. That's how we actually taught everything. So you have to realize from even our Vedic school will tell you memory increases by actually these kinds of things, right? So all of these things are taught. So today's topic is exactly that. How does that contribute into our technology? By the way, we cannot always lie on the laurels of what has happened before. We always cannot say that everything happened before, so we can't do anything. We have to have actually a middle ground where we learn from the earlier stage and then bring it to the modern stage. If you look at the Sushruta, which has been translated by Velyathan, Professor Velyathan actually has translated the complete Sushruta and Charaka Samara. He's completely translated it. Read it. You will realize that medical technology, how plastic surgery was done. Why did we need a plastic surgery? Because oil burns. Whenever you have an oil burn, get it back, you need to actually transfer the skin from one place to another. This was known. This he could do. He was using ivory tools. And the shape of these ivory tools, go back and look at the Charaka Samara, which is actually translated by our great Velyathan, who happens to be a kingly family from Trivandrum. He has actually shown that even the sutures, the shape of the suture is actually exactly the same what is current medical people are using. So the knowledge of Ayurveda, knowledge of medical science, all was excellent. Today it is required for us to take that, understand. First thing is to actually get out of this thing that we don't understand it. We need to actually make an attempt to understand what is there. Many of our books have been taken away. Many of our books, old books have been, if you go back and look at the British libraries, you will find those books are there. You go to the US libraries, you will find translations of these existing. Go back and look. I have been in libraries of Cornell and I have been in various universities. There are translations of Indian epics, not only epics, these classic books, they are existing, but we don't have. We don't actually do that. So we need to first get the knowledge here and then take that knowledge and try to improve upon it and try to develop, get the concept of how did they think about it with limited technology, how did they come out with such beautiful ideas. We can also do that. And one of the greatest thing for Indians, which you don't understand, even if we become the richest country in the world, we'll never ever oppress any other country. Period. That is India. That is Indianness. It doesn't matter who is there in India. Every Indian will believe in that. We don't want to oppress another one. We used to actually go all the way to Bali, navigate all the way. We always know Columbus discovered something or Vasco da Gama discovered. But our people have actually gone and built temples in Bali or Sumatra or any of those places. How did they go there? We never even give credit to our people who have actually navigated much before these people. Right? How did the navigation happen? You don't realize the Westerners were always using a plumb line for actually navigating. We used to use a plumb line which had 3 point, which is exactly what GPS is. This knowledge existed in India, and that is why we were able to navigate using the sky to navigate at any point of time, looking at the stars, because we used not the plumb line which is actually straight, but plumb line which is actually having this. So the curvature is taken care of. This is the beauty of these things. How did they think about all these things? Only because they observed. They never were actually obsessed by religion. They were never obsessed by... See, we always say we are religion, ours is one, India is one place where we can actually be seekers. We can question, we can ask questions. I don't understand, I ask questions. Your job is to convince me what you're saying is correct or not, right? So that dialogue, that debate, that kind of ability to do is what we need to actually nurture to actually come out with modern technology, which is different from what the way people have done. Today, when ISRO has sent spacecrafts, it's developed on its own. On its own. That is how India can do. This is where we need to actually develop. So ultimately, what I wanted to mention here is to put the debate in perspective that there is a lot of things existed. We need to understand, never only lie on the laurels of what we achieved, but take those knowledge, try to understand how they thought about it, and come out with your own technologies in the future, which can actually benefit mankind. Combine all of these things and come out with it. Bottom line is, don't be a follower, be a leader. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. So bottom line is very interesting. That is, don't follow blindly, you should be a leader. Today topic is the contribution of Bharatiya Shastras to modern science and technology. This is a given topic to discuss and debate, panel discussion. What is the need of this topic? Everyday technology is changing. That is unimaginable, very difficult to imagine. Technology is one part. The morning onwards, you are discussing about what is the necessity of our Bharatiya Shastra, why you need, what way it contributes our modern technology. Even before this panel discussion, after lunch, soon after lunch, everybody talking about what's our self-discipline and character building. Science and technology, if we follow the Western science and technology, this is one side of a coin. Other side of the coin, way back, if you see now, invention of the electricity, invention of the internet, invention of the mobile communication. Now you are in AI era. Technology changing every day. But other side, the value system is deteriorating every day. That is now the point to discuss. Apart from our technology and science and technology, you have to teach, you have to learn the values. Our Bharatiya Shastras teach us all the aspects, two sides of a coin. Today, to discuss about this, we have a panel's members. That is my duty to introduce Professor K Shivprasad, Vice Chancellor, Kerala Technical University, Kerala. Dr. Ajit Prabhu V, Chief Scientist, Kerala, State Council for Science, Technology and Environment. Professor Prasad Krishnan, Director, NIT Calicut. First of all, I request Professor K Shivprasad, Vice Chancellor of Kerala Technical University, please speak on this topic, sir.
A very good afternoon to all those who are attending national conference conducted by Akhil Bharatiya Rashtriya Shaikshik Mahasangh in collaboration with Unnata Vidyabhyasa Adhyapaka Sangham, Kerala. And this is being organized in Rajiv Gandhi Biotechnology Institute in Trivandrum. This shows a big sign of collaboration in the field of Vikasit Bharat, which is our aim. 2047 is our aim. And I hope that with this amount of enthusiasm and interest, we would be able to achieve this before 2047. Let us hope for that. The title of the seminar is Bharatiya Shastra and Sanskrit. I will not be able to deliver anything on this, either on Sanskrit or on Bharatiya Shastra, because as a student or as a teacher, I have never been introduced into this thing. I tried in my upper primary school to learn Sanskrit, but the experience was horrible. Our upper primary school is for 3 years, and I had 10 teachers teaching me Sanskrit in these 3 years. The governmental policy was to transfer Sanskrit teachers highly irrationally. That was the government stand on Sanskrit in Kerala, where everybody talks about the superior tradition of Sanskrit in Kerala. But our government has failed to deliver Sanskrit knowledge to those who actually wanted to know about this. This is a situation, even now the situation probably is worse than that. So I will not be able to touch on Sanskrit and Bharatiya Shastras. So I will, Panchanathan sir was telling about a American professor who was talking about 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 5 up to 5 o'clock, and he was doing some magic. And I see I could have applied that and I could have got some more audience in this session, but unfortunately the audience is slightly lesser than what we saw it in the morning. So see, our tradition is not to impose anything on the spectators or audience. They should come voluntarily and get knowledge, wisdom, or information, whatever they want. That is our system, and that should be followed. So I will touch upon my own experience with respect to Sanskrit and Bharatiya Shastras. And I will compare, and I will simply, will conclude with a secret to achieve Vikasit Bharat in 2047. I belong to a family near Trichur. That place is called, formerly it was called as Muziris. Then it was called as Crankanur by the British. Now it is called as Kodungalur, where the famous Kannaki temple, Kodilingapuram, that temple stays. So there was a free university. Somebody was mentioning in the morning about Kantalur Shala, which was one of the biggest universities in ancient India. But if you go back 150 years or 200 years, you could see a free university that was being run in Kodungalur probably from 1775 CE to 1950. I don't know exactly what was the term of that particular university. That was a free university, and that university was giving out many courses to all those who wanted to get information, knowledge, or wisdom. That was a free university, open to all. And you should be thinking about the social situation there in Kerala some 200 years, 150 years back. But Kodungalur Gurukulam, or in Malayalam it was called as Kodungalur Kalari, was open to all caste, creed, religion, and anything which actually required knowledge. They used to supply it. So we were mentioning about, we had seen, we just saw one person called Aji, a kind of a magician as far as memory is concerned. And one of the members of that Kodungalur University, there were two eminent members. One member was Kodungalur Kunyikuttan Tamburan. He was also named as Vyasa of Kerala because he translated the entire Bharatam written by Vyasa in 2.5 years. Entire Bharatam was translated by himself. Nobody was there to assist him. But probably with writing the scripts, somebody might have been there. But he translated it within 2.5 years. And another person was there. He was a cousin of Kodungalur Kunyikuttan Tamburan. He was called as Kodungalur Chariya Kochunni Tamburan. These people were literary luminaries in those era. So there was a contest conducted by a person called Rajarshi. He was a king of Cochin, I think from 1900 to 1940. He was called as Rajarshi by Bala Gangadhar Tilak. He was a king and he was a scholar. And he, not only his scholarship in literature and other science and other things, he was a good ruler because he solved the ornaments of Purnathresha temple. He took ornaments from the idol and he sold the ornaments for making railway track from Shornur to Cochin. So this was his development plan to develop how to develop Kerala state. And this person, Rajarshi, he conducted a contest. It is now called in Sanskrit, in Malayalam, it is called as Akshara Shlokam or Antakshari. The new name for that is Antakshari. So the Akshara Shlokam, you have to chant Sanskrit slokas, and there is a pattern of chanting slokas one after the other. Many contestants will be there. And that particular contest of Akshara Shloka, that I think that went up to 10 days. And there was a decider. Somebody was given the best award, first prize in this Akshara Shloka. Then there was another contest by Rajarshi. He asked the competitors one question. Can you chant all these more than 25,000 slokas? Those slokas already were chanted in this contest. Can you re-chant it? 25,000 slokas. Chariya Kuchunni Tamburan said, I can chant 25,000 slokas. I can chant by remembering. So similarly, like Aji, these systems, this kind of magic was there also. So I just gave us an example. And the question was thrown to Kunyikuttan Tamburan, Kodungalur Kunyikuttan Tamburan. He said, I will not be able to remember and chant those 25,000 slokas, but I can make 25,000 slokas at once. That was the kind of caliber that this university, that Krankanur University or Kodungalur Kalari was having. And this Kodungalur Kochunni Tamburan, probably some doctors will be interested. He was a literary genius. He also translated many texts, the original Indian traditional text to Malayalam. And he was also a Ayurvedic doctor. He invented two medicines. One is very popular in Kerala. That is one of the dental powders. K.P. Nambudiri's Dandadhavana Churnam. That was invented by this scholar. He's a poet. He was a poet and a doctor. And he invented it and marketed it. And another one was called Siddha Kalpam. The Siddha Kalpam is a pain balm. This pain balm has two functions. It can be consumed as well as it can be rubbed. It can be applied. So that Siddha Kalpam is no more. It has been gone out of the market. So this was the general capacity and caliber of Kodungalur Kalari, and they were big Sanskrit scholars. There was a big group of people all along Kerala. They had many shishyas, many disciples, and there was a big group, and they prevented, what they did was, they prevented the intrusion of Western intellectual and Western academic system into Kerala by spreading the traditional knowledge to these scholars. So they prevented it. Otherwise, it would have been bigger impact in Kerala had the Kodungalur Gurukulam intervened in, went into this type of mode of teaching everybody. No caste, no creed, no religion. Come to us, we will teach. One of the biggest examples in this was Pandit Karuppan, who was a Dhivara, then a downtrodden caste. He was also taught, and he was made the member of Legislative Assembly of Travancore Prajasabha by Kunyukuttan Thampuran. So this I just explained the general condition of that family. But what happened to that family was 1950, that family almost went out of this business of running a free university. And that family, my mother as a 15-year-old girl, they supported the first communist elected member in the entire world. E. Gopalakrishna Menon was the first communist democratically elected member in the entire world, and the entire family went to support communism in Kerala. And what the result, and eventually that particular family had nothing, no records of all these genius fellows. There were around 15 to 20 genius, those who were living inside this family. No records, no works, no products, nothing left in that particular family. I have experienced. When I opened a big wooden box in my family, what I found was a powder, a bunch of powder eaten by the insects. All these records of these giants, the genius, they were all eaten away by the ants. So what I found was a bunch of powder, some powder-like thing. So this was the situation of Kerala. We had a university, free university, very elegant people, but the records that they had produced were totally absent. So this is the situation after, somebody was mentioning about after independence, what happened. So coming to the next experience, where the secret comes, I got a call in 2023 from one of my naval officers, my students' naval officers. He wanted me to find out somebody who is, that time, who was involved in a particular technology called stitched boats. In Tamil, it is called as Kettu Vallam. In, I don't know what is that name in Andhra. Kettu Vallam means with coir fiber, the planks will be joined using coir fiber. And it will be in Godavari, I think the coir may not be there. Some other fiber will be there, would have been there to fabricate these things. And I got a call from the naval officer, and I asked from whom did you get this information? He is at Prime Minister's office. So Prime Minister's office is asking for a traditional Indian boat building technique. And I've searched many boat builders in Kerala who uses this traditional stitched boat. And I found a person called Peter in a place near Cochin. And he was a very, very, very poor boatsman, the boat builder, using wooden boat building. Using woods they used to build boats, and he was practicing this for the last 250 years, his family. Very poor man. He could not even build his boat in his yard, and the boat was protruding outside to the street. So that was his pathetic situation of that particular house. He was using his house, the premises of his house, as the boat yard. So I got information on the stitched boats. I got videos and photos and then sent to that naval officer, and he passed on to the authority. So now I didn't hear anything about this for 1 year. Finally, I got a call from Peter, that particular craftsman. He was mentioning that, sir, I got a call from Prime Minister's office. I've been selected as the Vishwakarma Award winner for keeping traditional boat building in Kerala for last 250 years. And somebody, after 2 years, after 2 days, one person came from Delhi for him with coat, boot, hat, everything, with pants. And he was a poor fellow who never know. He knew only Malayalam, and probably he might never used a pant even. So he was asked to wear all these things, and with the flight ticket, that particular naval officer took him to the Prime Minister, and Prime Minister called him and gave him the Vishwakarma Award. And one thing, the Prime Minister told in his ear that, be prepared, you are going to get international orders. He told me that. And I was wondering, what is this international order? Then after that, I checked what really happening in this country. Then one of the economical advisors to Prime Minister, am I over? No, one of the economical advisors, Mr. Sanjeev Sanyal, who is a grandson of the eminent revolutionary Sachivendra Sanyal. He's economical advisor and historical advisor to Prime Minister. Stop. Okay. Then he said, Sanjeev Sanyal has taken up a project of reinventing and reconstructing stitched boards, and this stitched board will be the brand ambassador of India to two routes. One is Silk route towards Vietnam, and the other one is Spice route towards Bahrain, Kuwait, and others. One is to the east and one is to the west. And this boat is being built in Goa. And the two boats will go, one from Chennai to Vietnam, and the other one from Mumbai to, I don't know, Mumbai or Calicut to Kuwait. So these are two different routes, previous traditional routes of Indian commerce. And Prime Minister is going to establish these routes by making these two stitched boats as the brand ambassadors of India. You just see the narration of our Prime Minister. And my advice to the youngsters, you have hope. You have hope because there is a person to support, to bridge between our traditional wisdom and the modern technology. And this is none other than our reputed Prime Minister, Narendra Modi. And you have the future. You have future with you. And you are the person, you are the individual scientist or technologist to undertake these projects and to make the traditional Indian wisdom come up and go internationally. And that his murmuring on his ear was, you will get more international orders. Everything our Prime Minister sees with commerce, not only with our tradition, technology, or science. He sees commerce in this. And the commerce is not for us, the commerce is for the entire world. Vasudhaiva Kudumbakam is his motto. I'm very happy to address you all and share my thoughts. This is what I have to say about the traditional thing at Kodungalur and the modern thing with our Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Thank you. If you can take this up and you can propose projects, ICSSR director was here. You can propose more projects. You'll be getting the fund, and you will make more. You'll make Vikasit Bharat before 2047. Thank you very much.
Regarding the contribution of the Bharatiya Shastras to modern science and technology, is very informative. Thank you very much, sir. I request Ajit Prabhu, scientist, Kerala State Council for Science and Technology and Environment, to speak on this topic.
First of all, I am extremely thankful to the organizers for giving me an opportunity to be with you in this beautiful occasion. I thank Dr. Vinod, who was continuously telling me to attend and deliver a talk on modern as well as connecting ancient technologies. So, towards technological progress. I am apologetic that I am not a Sanskrit scholar, but I have joined in Central Sanskrit University for the certificate course in Sanskrit. So I was formerly chief scientist in Science and Technology Council and presently I am director and principal of St. Thomas Engineering College, Chengannur. First of all, of course, maybe a little duplication or overlap may happen because right from the morning inaugural session onwards, we have been hearing our past glory and rich contribution of ancient India towards science and technology. Of course, this point was well, narrated in the morning session also. Ancient India was a land of sages and seers, as well as a land of scholars and scientists. We had the first, we can claim boldly that the university system was started in India. We had prestigious, the world's first university, Takshashila, Nalanda, other universities, Mithila University, Vallabhi University, Sharadha Peeth, and so on. And our Bharat was the center of knowledge at that time. So this was a center of the world. For anything and everything, people relied on India. Whether it is medical emergency or medical challenges, technological requirements, even spiritual, if you want to get moksha, you have to go to India. There is no other place. Or Bharat. I don't say India, it was Bharat. You can see the map. So it was the center of knowledge and center of economy. Earlier also, a scholarly professor was telling, the GDP share of India just 1,000 years before was 36%. And it went down up to 3%. And today, it has gone up to 9.9%. And Indian knowledge system, of course, I am just running through. There were a lot of developed technologies such as stoneworking, agriculture, animal husbandry, pottery, metallurgy. Metallurgy, of course, boldly we can say it was a contribution of our Bharat to the world. Textile manufacturing, wood carving, boat making and sailing. Always we show the symbol of the iron pillar as an example of metallurgical composition. I can show you another example of metallurgy marvel. At present, I am at Chengannur, very close to a heritage village called Aranmula. Aranmula, there is a metal mirror called that it has got GI, geographical indication also, that is Aranmula metal mirror. In a traditional way, they make this metallurgical, with melting it and all, and after polishing, it shines like, and you can that reflection you can see, and only reflection, not refraction. The mercury mirror presently what you buy will have two mirrors, two images, reflection as well as the refraction. But this will give you only reflection. That is a marvel. I was searching through the Google whether anywhere in the world this kind of metal mirror is there. No. There was a reported case some long back in Japan, but now it is not there. So we can boldly say. And another dimension of this is, at any management or any quality norms you perceive, our system can fit into that. For example, in management, total quality management, you say 6 sigma, which is 0 defect. These traditional products ensured 0 defect. 0 defect. Even today, some families in Aranmula, I had the fortune of visiting how they are making it. Perfectly with the traditional, it is actually 600 old technology, 600 years old technology. Like this, okay, Kanjipuram silk and all, I am not elaborating that. And of course, chemistry was that much developed in India, and it was the chemistry called Rasaratna Samuchaya. It was science of Mercury, Rasa Shastra, Rasam and Rasa. Rasa means Mercury. And of course, that was linked with Ayurveda also. That is again, that gives us a hint that the multidisciplinary approach is essential for technological development. Chemistry and Ayurveda were linked. And of course, saying Nagarjuna, and I am not going into that, atomic theory was proposed and developed by Kanada. There were opposition for that, but presently, if you look at the atomic energy and theories, we definitely owe, or the world owe, Kanadas. Medicine, of course, there was an excellent session on Ayurveda and all. I am ignorant about that, but still I can boldly say that is one of the medicinal branch which was developed that much in the whole world. And even now, last week I was talking to one professor, Raj Dave, I think Delhi based professor, now he is in US. So he was telling that I am coming to your place in Kottakkal, Aryabhata Shala for Ayurveda treatment and all. So Ayurveda was well developed, Siddha was well developed, Yoga was well developed. What more? Veterinary science was also developed very much by Shalihotra. And of course, our chairman was talking about Shushruta, known as father of plastic surgery. I am skipping this slide. Similarly, Charaga, known as father of Ayurveda. Astronomy and space. Now, of course, referring to Honorable Vice Chancellor, a group of political parties combine astronomy and astrology and find fault with astronomical, advances that we have made. Both are different. People are so ignorant to distinguish these two branches of science, astrology and astronomy, and make row over that. Jantar Mantar, living example of how the astronomical calculations were done. We were able to predict eclipse, solar eclipse, lunar eclipse, etc., and so on. You can see the pictures of Jantar Mantar in Delhi, as well as Raja Jai Singh has done the biggest Jantar Mantar in Jaipur. Mathematics, I am not explaining that. Honorable Vice Chancellor was talking about that. And Honorable Chairman was also talking about that. Value of pi and so on and so forth, which was well explained in Shulba Sutras. Baudhayana was the mathematician known as father of geometry. Now we boast Pythagoras and etc. He has written Shulba Sutra and Srauta Sutras. Kanada, again, atomic energy man. Aryabhata, mathematician as well as astronomer. Brahmagupta, Varahamihira. Taking words from Director RGCB, what was the kind of instruments they might have used to view astronomical planets and all, and make accurate predictions? Distance between Earth and Moon, Earth and Sun, solar system, and so on and so forth. What were the instruments they have used? How it is lost? I'll come to that point. So another engineering marvel, you can see temple architecture. Even now, I am not sure whether our architects are much familiar with this temple architecture. Different architecture, temple architecture in different regions of the country. And the last one is the Gopura of Padmanabha Swami temple in Trivandrum. And the kind of carvings. Even in soap, with soap you cannot make this much of carving. With that accuracy and perfection they have made out of stones. So what were the tools that they have used? Being an engineer, I take it as a challenge that whether present engineers can do that or not. Temple architecture, how was that structured? What is the ratio between each element and all? At that time, no paper as per records. So how they, no AutoCAD, no drawings, nothing. How did they do that? It's a big question mark. But each symbolizes different meanings. What is that? Dvajastamba, what does it mean? Garbhagraha, and so on. This actually reminds me a sad and old story. This is the Konark temple, Sun temple. When I visited Bhubaneswar, I visited this temple also, now in a very dilapidated condition. So I asked the guide, what is the story? Why now it is filled with full of sand and stones and are inside, fully covered. Then he told at the top of the temple, some 200 years ago, there was a huge magnet which was holding the whole structure, reinforcing the whole structure. And the magnet was so powerful that even Britishers, when their ship was sailing through the nearby ocean, Bay of Bengal, that was attracting. So they were thinking, which force is attracting? They thought that it is because of this. Maybe they might have identified. Maybe they might have tried to explore the kind of magnetism and that other thing. Please note, at that time, the modern magnetism or electricity was not developed. With a lot of force and other thing, they ruptured it and they take it out. That was the end of it. The whole structure started dislocating, and now one by one the stone, maybe the stone was also magnetic rocks, started falling down. So in order to keep the overall peripheral structure like that, now the modern archaeology department is pushing surki and sand and all, keeping that structure like that. You see the kind of the things that they have done in that earlier Chandrabasar was talking about 7 days in a week, and how that hours, minutes, etc. All those things were recorded there. There were beads with which you can exactly predict what is the time and all. Similarly, the palaces, wonderful things. Last week I read from a WhatsApp message that this is second Great Wall after China, but that is not recorded anywhere. How did they construct it? This is in Jaipur. So of course I am not elaborating. Forts, with how much difficulty and problems they might have created. What is the architecture they have done? Even while referring to temples, Ellora temple, that stone was removed and made that temple. It is heard that every hour 35 tons of granite was removed and made that temple. So what was the equipment they might have used? Marvel. We have to simply say it is astonishing. That's all. Then cultural heritage. Even today, Samaveda was, of course, it was beyond my understanding capacity, but something I could understand, that there is a correlation between the art, culture, music, Veda, engineering, and etc. etc. And all these things are performed perfectly with a synchronous fashion. Similarly, our temple festivals and all. And look at our temples and our festivals. If you look at the traditional way, which is against the environmental sustainability. Again, I refer to the place where I am now, Aranmula. There is a temple called Aranmula Parthasarathi temple. There the famous boat race is happening every, during Onam. time, that boat itself is a particular shape. The way in which it is moving, if any engineer looks, it is against the engineering principle, against Archimedes principle, against buoyancy principle, against all these kind of aerodynamics, but it moves and works perfectly fine without any toppling down or anything. Still there are carpenters doing that, and they do it only from a peculiar wood called anjali. I don't know its botanical name, and maybe Dr. Vinod can help me if you. Anjali tree, not even teak. There is a reason for that. I was asking my civil engineering professors and mechanical engineering professors, why not you take it as a study? Professor Reddy was earlier telling the research projects on cultural things. This could be well taken. Similarly, so and the kind of decorations happening in festivals and other things, everything environment friendly, with leaves, with coconut leaves, with banana leaves, banana stem, and after that, no, you can burn it, finish. It never made any environmental damage. Now UNESCO is coming and telling SDG goals, 17 goals, something like that, and you do this, that thing, which we were doing at that time, practicing very well, successfully. 3R principles: reduce, reuse, recycle, and all. Buddha used to go along with the disciples, sannyasins, and the story says they used to wear only one dhoti kind of thing, only one. So as long as it gets torn off, they will manage with that. So one day one disciple was so sad that it has been torn in different way, and he was tying it and all. No, he has come to a point that he cannot manage anymore. So with a lot of fear, he went to Sri Buddha and told, Guru, I want one new dhoti. The immediate question Buddha asked, what are you going to do with this old one? If I give you a new one, what will you do with that old dhoti? He told, I will put it as a curtain in my hut. Okay, good. Suppose after some time that also will get decayed, then what will you do? Then he told, I will make it to a mat, floor mat, so that water and all. After that, what will you do? He told, I will tear it into small pieces, and I will club it along with surki, and keep a floor. I will put it in the floor and prepare it. You see how many levels reduce, reuse things goes. Is it not a principle which we were practicing? Now external agencies coming and telling us to do these things. Anyway, so this is the Indian knowledge system which was touching all necessary areas a human being requires, right from physical well-being, mental well-being, and even spiritual well-being, moksha and all, health and wellness, traditional knowledge in mathematics, traditional knowledge in yoga, Veda, preserving arts, culture, ancient structure, astronomy, and consciousness. Ultimately, knowing who you are, what is the purpose of life, everything. And coming to again engineering and technology, this was the principle adopted at that time. Tantrajnanam, Tantra Shastram. Vijnanasya Tantrajnanasya cha laugiga prayojneshu. Vinyoga Vijnana Tantrajnanabhya Nirmita Karja. That means the application of scientific and engineering knowledge for practical purpose, for the real life world. The products developed from such knowledge, that is engineering. And probably all of you might have seen this. If not, don't miss this picture. How we lost this? We have to remember this name, Lord Macaulay. He has written in 1835, I have traveled across the length and breadth of India, and I have not seen one person who is a beggar. That means economically superpower. Vikasit Bharat at that time. Who is a thief? Such wealth I have seen in this country. and such high moral values, people of such caliber, that I do not think we would ever conquer this country unless we break the very backbone of this nation, which is her spiritual and cultural heritage. And therefore, I propose that we replace her old and ancient education system, her culture, for if the Indians think that all that is foreign and English is a good and greater than their own, until that we have to work. That is probably that might have lost all these things. What can you understand from this figure? I am not a medical doctor, so it cannot be a brain kind of thing. This is global distribution of knowledge, present thing. You know, the US and all you can see, and whereas you can see India, this is India, our country. That middle, you know, that yellow kind of thing. And poverty is inversely proportional to the knowledge. So there is a correlation. So knowledge is becoming more and more important in the global sphere of competition and production. In this context, there is a danger that least developed countries will be increasingly marginalized if they do not enhance the knowledge content of their economies and achieve economic diversification through learning and knowledge. See, bottom side you can see that was our India, even medieval India, which was busy with education, science, mathematics, astronomy, astrophysics, and philosophy and all, whereas the top, including China, Russia, were busy squabbling over religious fanaticism, wars, and superstition. 1,000 years before and at present, 2015, this is of course a picture taken 10 years before. Now it has been reversed, and that is why we are suffering. We lost our glory. But now we are catching up in space exploration. That is well explained, 1970s to 2020s. Now we are planning lunar mission and human space mission and all. Information technology, we are doing excellently well. Transportation, we are now planning for hyperloop technology, electric aviation, and things like that. And energy and environment, we are doing excellently well. Agriculture and food technology, we have integrated our past, and these are the 10 largest economies in the world, and we stand fifth. Our GDP is 4.112 trillion US dollars, next to Japan. And so what next? What should we do next? I am concluding. So the integration of Indian knowledge system offers numerous benefits, and we have to assimilate all these things like what Vyasa has done. Cultural identity and heritage, strengthening students' connection to their cultural roots, deep-rooted cultural roots, and promoting a sense of pride in their heritage. We lost that pride. We have to regain that. Then holistic education, providing a well-rounded education that includes moral, ethical, and spiritual dimensions. Innovation and sustainability, drawing from traditional practices and wisdom to address contemporary issues such as sustainability and well-being. But we can be hopeful that we are coming up soon. We are coming up very fast. We are moving towards our goal, 2047 Viksit Bharat. Our ranking is third position in producing PhDs after United States and China, third position. Then publications, India holds again third position, and now we are going to second position. Global patents, we are in the sixth position. Then one more story, I am stopping it. Why our patents are less? China takes almost half of the world's patents. Globally, last year 31 lakhs of patents were filed, and out of its 18 lakh patents were filed by China, whereas our country has filed nearly 45,000 of patents. We are actually selfless people. We don't believe in self, in the sense, I don't want to get fame or name. What happened to Bose? He is still known as father of microwave engineering. He is the inventor of radio. But if this question is asked, who is the inventor of radio, people will say Marconi. Marconi was a student listening to his international symposium on microwave engineering. At that time, he has already developed this thing. And this fellow has asked him, what is that? What is that? And he filed a patent. And now he is the inventor. Why J.C. Bose didn't? Many people told, you file a patent. He told, no, I don't believe in it. It is national property. No, I belong to the country. No, I don't want anything to believe. That is one of the reasons. Our global innovation index is now 39th and etc. Our university system is very strong and robust system. We have got 2,500 engineering colleges, including 23 IITs and 32 NITs, 1,400 polytechnics. Maybe there may be some slight variation in the statistics. Thanks to Dr. Jitendra Singh, the Union Minister for Science and Technology, he recently told the significance of integrating India's traditional knowledge with modern technology and aims to enhance India's global standing as the nation approaches its centenary in 2047. Let us dedicate ourselves to the building of developed strong India, Vikasit Bharat. Thank you.
Addressing all of you, sharing my thoughts on integrating traditional wisdom and the modern scientific and technological advancements. I will continue with what the Lord Macaulay has created the mess that the scientific, the cultural and spiritual heritage of the country. I want to tell, we all know that nobody can touch the spiritual and cultural heritage of this country. Be assured, India has been and India will always be the spiritual capital of the world. This is the Karma Bhumi, this is the Punya Bhumi, as the Adi Shankara told. You know, Trayam eva Devanugraham. What? Mumukshattam, Manushvattam, and the presence of a great Guru, Mahapurusha Samsrayaha. These three things are required. And if you all look at that, in my 41 years, I am in the profession from 1983, I came across a meditation system when I was a student in the University of Michigan in the USA, Ann Arbor. I never came across, because when I was in Singapore, NUS studying, I got attracted to the Ramakrishna order and I used to attend the Gita Prabhashan every week. Many reasons, because of the good bhojan we get there. Because, you know, we are in a different country. I'm also a pure vegetarian, so I used to enjoy the food there in the mud. And then I used to read, you know, after the Arati, the books and all. But later, I came to know, we are, if you look at all these great people, all the acharyas, Aryabhata, it is not Aryabhata, it is wrongly spelled every time. Aryabhata, it is not Bhatta, Aryabhata. Aryabhata, all the Brahmaputra, all the great acharyas, Panini, Charaga, Sushruta, do you think that they were only a scientist or artist? There are many things we have to understand. They were, of course, Trigala Jnanis, no doubt. And they were all spiritual scientists. My dear friends, the first lesson we have to learn, forget about thinking about the past glory. We are there, we were there, we were good in metallurgy and all that is fine. What can we do now? Look forward. You keep on telling all these great things. So what? Are we advanced? The scientific and technologically advanced nation, can you catch up with the China? Even US cannot catch up with China. The kind of only the $1 trillion economy is different, but they can, the kind of advancement they have done. So I will only talk about that. India has been always the glorious nation. It's Arsha Bharata Samskaram. Nobody in the world anywhere can touch upon, because this is a Rishi Parampara. So don't worry about that. Nobody is going to snatch away the spiritual heritage of this great nation. can we become Srinivasa Ramanujam? Do you think Srinivasa Ramanujam went to the Western universities and decoded the arithmetics, the number theory? Or you believe that it is because of the blessings of the Durga Devi? If you all understand how Aryabhata, how the Madhava, even somebody mentioned Aryabhata put the Pythagoras theorem much before that. It was known during the Vedic period, the Pythagoras theorem. Even our own Madhava from this state, Madhava discovered the Leibniz series, solutions of the calculus, differential calculus, and pi to several significant digits, the value of pi, and also Pythagoras theorem. This poor Brahmin was simply lying, on a piece of stone and dancing as the sky. In his transcendental meditation, the entire knowledge descends like the Vedas came. Vedas is when you are in that contemplative state, when your consciousness has developed and expanded close to that of the infinite consciousness of the divinity, the knowledge descends where? Into the hearts of such craving. And there comes all this. There comes Ramanuja with all this. I am now, as a spiritual seeker, diving into that. And I have learned and I have realized that today, why do we look for outside for knowledge? I'm telling you with my own experiment. Indian system is always prayoga, experiment, then comes anubhava, experience, then comes the education. Now ulta pulta kya, we all these Western people first give a textbook and give the content. In Indian system, when a shishya is capable of assimilating, that much content is given by the guru and the next stage. And the gurus are so compassionate that if the guru will say, that much only I know. Like Shankaracharya was, now you go to the next highest evolved soul. I can only teach you this much. Please go to the next level. That is a magnanimity. There was no caste, creed, religion. It is Shabari is a tribal woman. Vatmegi, Maharshi. Today we are fortunate, we have a Rajarshi like Narendra Modi ji who is leading this country. He is a Rajarshi, like Raja Janak. That is a kind of, if you look at all the Puranas, all our entire epics of this country, somebody is treating it like mythology, it's just myth. But if you look at that, what is happening in Ramayana, Mahabharata, Bhagavad Gita, it's all about discussions on evolution of consciousness. Whether it is in Lakshmana Gita, whether it is in Ashtavakra Gita, whether it is in Vasishta Gita or the Bhagavad Gita, everywhere, Vanavasa, all the time, what are they discussing? Look at the greatness of our people. Even those times, that's why Krishna told, I had told this Vaivasvata Manu, I have to tell it again, Arjuna, to you, that great essence of evolution of the human life. I have to tell, people have forgotten. We are at that state, friends. We have forgotten what we can be, like Srinivasa Ramanujam. Only if you dive deep into the inner world, keep the heart chakra pure and simple, everything will reveal. I remember the quote by von Korman, who says, scientists discover that already exist in nature. Scientists discover that already exist in nature. And what the rishis does is they are just, when they are in that tune with the divine consciousness, when they resonate with the divine consciousness, the knowledge reveals to them. And the mysteries of this creation is known to them. And it is only, unfortunately, like the Vedic tradition, it is an oral tradition, as our Sadashiva Murtigaru mentioned. We don't keep patents and all that. No, we care for that. Nobody can snatch this Vedas. It is eternal truth. Nothing to worry. Time immemorial, people will discuss on the Vedas. But what are we doing with them? With this rich treasure, what a common man. What 60% of the population is young people. What are they doing? If you tell them all this, they'll say all rubbish. We will only follow any of the textbooks you see in engineering. Anything I know about IITs and NITs, none of us follow even Indian authors' textbooks. This is a fact. Whether thermodynamics, heat transfer, I'm a mechanical, I'm telling you, any book. And not even talk about the casting, because India is the cradle of all this metallurgy, even zinc, zinc casting, and never ever mentioned. Even the lost wax process is the 4500 BC, the first casting, they say it is to Mesopotamian. They'll say some other civilization. But please remember, this is the only civilization, there is no death, because it is paradam, which means it is a knowledge. It's a knowledge society. Nobody can touch this. This parambara will continue, friends, don't worry. But what we need to worry is, what are we doing with youngsters? In fact, when I took over as director 3 years ago, the first thing is started to establish a center for Indian knowledge system in NIT. It's the first time in the country, the first NIT. And a state like Kerala, they have told many things against me. Obviously, they will tell. But even getting Sanskritam books in our library, lot of opposition. All, he is not secular, he is this. What a shame. When Hebraic, the entire computer coding, the Jews are doing in Hebrew, the oldest language, and where for AI, the best language is Sanskritam. And this is what is happening in our country, in our state like this. Mudha Buddhi, that Shankaracharya told. This is the Mudha Buddhi. And for this, my dear friends, all of you are teachers, I am telling you, first charity begins at home. Can you tell your kids? Are their granny, grandma, grandparents telling these moral stories of our great people like Ekalavya or Dhruva, Najikeda? They all question, even none other than the Lord of Death. Such is the curiosity. What is the purpose of my life? Again, there is a Upanishad, the entire Upanishad talks about, again, the Samvada about consciousness. Nothing else they matter. None of the material pursuit can this poor young boy like Nachiketa. Are we telling the stories? Even the Chanda Mama, Panchatandra, we are in a state like Kerala, we don't want anyone. At the most, husband and wife, parents are all, like in our Karnataka, we say, old furniture. Yarik Beda. And see, in Kerala, this is our civilization. We can't tolerate anyone. Nothing. And nowadays, even living together, no children also. So where is the traditional wisdom? That wisdom bridge, which I learned from my grandma, all these Purana stories. And that is missing, friends. How can you do? Can your digital technology preserve that and tell somebody, AI will come as a granny and tell in a beautiful way, in the original, it is possible, tell those stories so that the morality and ethical foundation will come automatically into that. Otherwise, all of us, we are feeding the baby by keeping the mobile phone with the baby. Today, I'm seeing our own daughter, if they do that, I tell them, please don't do that. This is where we have reached. So, my dear friends, tap into this infinite resources in our heart. This is what I have learned in my 41 years. And don't look for knowledge outside. Anything is possible, be assured. Like the Swamiji told, the entire universe is inside us. Only thing, we have to tune our heart, make it pure and simple by the correct thinking, right understanding, and honest approach. And our approach is never by first education, then no. It is the most scientific method the rishis and Indians are following. That is first experiment. I will explore, then I will observe, then I will experiment. Only then I am convinced. Then I get my own anubhava. The self is convinced. Only then it becomes my knowledge. Otherwise, it becomes knowledge of Albert Einstein or Archimedes, somebody else's knowledge. Until and unless. That is why Shankaracharya told, we learn by Sravanam, Mananam, Nidithyasanam. In our engineering, now we talk about the Benjamin Bloom's taxonomy. Is it not? Shankaracharya told that. Now you talk about Benjamin taxonomy. All this up to analysis, synthesis, from mere remembering, understanding to the highest level. Savana, Manana, Diditya. So until and unless, today we are dumping information with all this internet, but there is never it is converted into knowledge. Knowledge has to be converted into intuition. That is also not enough. It has to go to wisdom. That is also not enough. The potential of this heart is wisdom to wonder and witness. That means if you want to learn what is happening, the observer and the object that is observed, the observer has to be subtler than the object observed. That is the tradition of the Vedas. Until and unless I go subtler than, you know that if I want to measure nanometer, any instrument, I should go 1/10th of the resolution for that instrument. Same way. So the only purpose of life is to refine these subtle bodies, mano, chitta, ahankara, buddhi, and only then the consciousness will evolve, then all things are child's play. And I'll tell you that is what Ramanujam, that is what Aryabhata. First learn how they become like that. Can we not? Yes, we can become. We had the example of Swami Vivekananda. Like Ajit showed, Vivekananda ji could understand any book just by looking at that. Anybody can be like Vivekananda. Only thing, we should have the passion, we should have the commitment, we should have the interest. And then I think it is possible. So my dear friend, we have now taken, thanks to ICCR, they have also given some project to us in IKS. What we are doing is, people are talking about sustainable development goals, all these 17 goals of the UN. If you look at all that, if we are human beings, if we have the Manushwatvam, there is no pollution at all. No corporate fellow will dump the effluents into the potable water. Nothing will happen. Nobody will pollute the soil, because everything, the amsha of the divine. For us, we can't separate chara, achara. So that is the wisdom of this country. The interconnectedness of the whole universe is the wisdom of this country. So nobody we can hurt. We have to think twice. Everything has a consciousness, but at a lower level. Then we come to the plant kingdom. Then, because the subtle bodies are come together in the sand particle, they are separate for human beings, for evolutionary purpose the Creator has done. Also, that is the only way. The purpose of life is evolution. Evolution in the development of wisdom and attitude. What is that attitude? Attitude of humility, that I don't know, I am insignificant before the Supreme. And with that, I'm sure we keep learning and then keep the hearts open and experiment with everything. Don't just go by the textbook knowledge. That is somebody else's knowledge. And only then India can come back to that Vishwaguru status. And that is what I want. Small project we are doing in the Indian knowledge system. Now I have created an epigraphy lab where all the Taliola, the palm leaf, we have seen in many temples, even in Kerala. We have done in Andhra Pradesh, in Tamil Nadu. So we have seen that so much of precious, the treasure is dilapidated. Nobody knows how to decode that, the palm leaves. So that we have taken. I've constituted epigraphy lab. And similarly, if you see the deep ecology, how the IKS can be used with the sacred groves or the sacred or the spiritual geography. We were known for that, Nagabana, that kind of നമ്മുടെ സർപ്പക്കാവുകള് കേരളത്തിലെ, these are all the great places of the conservative ecosystem for replenishing water and even for breaking the wind flow. So, and even protecting the endangered animals. So such sacred groves and all that, now we have taken, ICCR has given that project thanks to Dr. Reddy, and I am sure we have to, if we want to convince the youngsters, we have to go it in the scientific way, take these kind of projects and prove to them. Any sloga in Sanskrit, there is a corresponding Kadapayadi. You must be knowing. When Narayana Patadiri concluded the famous Narayaniyam with Ayurarogya Saukhyam, when it ends that, there is a Kadapayadi. If you look at that, you can decodify each alphabet correspond to a numerals, and the day he Samarpan Kiya in front of Lord Guru Ayurappan, that is the date exactly. Every sloga is, if you decode it, there is. That is the wisdom of this great, because all this can come. Don't think that it is impossible. First have the conviction. Anybody can do it only if the consciousness evolves. Today, Western universities have departments of consciousness. They have departments of contemplative learning and education, but primarily based on the mindfulness from the Vipassana meditation. We have to tap into the rich wisdom. Ask our youngsters to take a project. Don't tell them anything. Let them experiment and be convinced. That is the best way, and that become a part of their knowledge. Thank you once again for giving me the opportunity. And I want to tell you, there is no point in having these kind of conferences until and unless first you tell your children at home about this ancient wisdom. It starts there. If you don't have time, you give to the mobile phone and it, what is that, Jack and what is that, Tom and Jerry and all that, it will never happen. First do at home, then you come and talk here big things. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Your talk is very informative. You rightly said, yes, everything is possible. You have passion and dedication and determination. Then lastly, you said, mention, you have to start from home. It's a very true, sir. Thank you very much for your talk. I will now request our chairman, sir, give closing remarks.
So I would like to thank my panel. Of course, before the panel, I should tell my moderator, Dr. M. Ashok, I thank you for being patiently allowing others to talk. So yeah, he allowed everybody to talk to their content. Of course, Ajit took advantage anyhow. I would like to thank my panelist, Professor K Shivprasad, the Vice Chancellor of Kerala Technology University, Dr. Ajit Prabhu, who is also the Director and Principal of St. Thomas College in Chenganur, then my own colleague in NIT, that is Professor Prasad Krishnan, Director NIT Calicut, on lean from NIT Suratkal. So that's why he was speaking Kannada there. So all of them have actually given you a lot of food for thought. So few points which probably would be good to take home. I start with what Prasad said at the end. Very important it is. For the youngsters, I am telling, we are old. Parenting, we have left it to teachers. Stop. You be the parent, not the teachers. Today, every parent is expecting the teachers to teach everything for the child, but stop that. And you start teaching the child at home. That will actually bring in culture, that will bring in heritage, that will bring every aspect in the thinking, morality, every aspect. Today, what we suffer, all of those can be ironed out if we start parenting today. We don't have the time. That is the problem. He also said that we think our parents are furnitures, old furniture. They can be a bridge. Please include them in your family. think about actually having them around with you. That can actually save you in the parenting also. So these two things which Prasad said, please take home. Very importantly, we should all the three speakers have mentioned, we have very great knowledge we have developed. We have forgotten it. We should, when we can think about when did Vasco da Gama discover India, or when we can think about Columbus discover something, why are we not thinking about what we ourselves have done in our history? Why are we not actually exploring those things? New education policy actually is emphasizing these aspects. There's a big change in the way the new education policy has been designed. Today, we as teachers are only thinking about how do I implement it, because we are still meritocracy based. We are worried about marks. We are worried about how our children will, even before they are born, what they should become is being decided. Let us think how we were. We never thought about what we will become. If when I was young, I didn't even know that I will be standing here today. I never even planned my life like that. It happened because that is what ultimately the creativity took me to. So let us allow our children to be creative rather than being rote memory. That is what is our culture, and that is what was mentioned. Experience and then learn. First you experience. When you experience, you know what I am good at, what I want to know, and that is how you learn. This philosophy we had has been lost, and that needs to be reinculcated. So all of these things are very, very important points to bring Bharatiya Shastra for modern science and technology. I think it is a wonderfully actually presented. I should thank all my panelists for doing this job wonderfully, and the moderator, and thank all of you for patiently being here, and thanks once again for listening. Thank you.